Hello everybody, welcome back once again to the Triangle Strategy walkthrough. So the last video there we did Booker's Brigade, and I'm just actually now saving, and let's continue on.
House Wolford, eager to report House N's illicit dealings to Hyzant, rebuffs an attack from Booker, Sorslay's loyal assistant, and gains entry to the city. Alas, Kamsel, one of the Saintly Seven, informs them that charges cannot be brought without hard evidence of Sorslay's misdeeds.
I see the salt matter is being addressed.
Exactly as you predicted, no less. I never expected House Wolford to so much as entertain the idea.
The Wolfords are formidable, always striving to do the right thing. Which is also what makes them so easy to manage.
What are you scheming now?
Scheming? You make it sound so scandalous. All I do for our beloved Hyzant.
Do not play the fool. I know Minister Edor has taken notice of you. You would do well not to let it go to your head. I certainly cannot bring myself to admire the man.
Oh, why ever not?
'Tis not worth going into detail. Suffice to say, I would not mourn him should some grave impropriety come to light.
Then, for now, let us gleefully await the Wolford's next move.
Okay, looks like we've got a side story here at the Citadel of the Sands. Within the Citadel of the Sands, Tenebris finds Sorsley in high spirits.
Well, if it isn't Tenebris. Gloomy as ever, I see.
Minister Sorsley, I see you are in high spirits.
And why shouldn't I be? House Wolford is ferrying my salt as we speak. An illustrious house from the Salt Iron War trying to win my favor. It's laughable.
But can they succeed, being as ignorant to the circumstances as they are?
If they fail, I simply lay the blame upon them and see their house duly punished. I shall gain merit in place of money.
I did not take you for an optimist. Or have you forgotten of Exham and Kamsel's suspicions?
You speak as if it were my problem alone, my dear Tenebris.
Do not misunderstand. It is because we are tarred with the same brush that I have come to warn you. Your dealings of late have grown, perhaps overly so. You would make an enemy of the other saints, should they notice.
And would you too turn against me, Tenebris?
Most certainly not. Our fates are tied.
Good. Now leave me.
Pray, be careful, Minister.
What need have I for caution? I have never failed, nor will I ever.
Famous last words, eh? Alright, so here we've got our next main story quest, which is in central Hyzant. Cyrano searches for evidence to indict Sorsley but will he find it in time?
Sorcelet may well come to end us once he hears of our allegations. There is no turning back now. We must move swiftly.
So how shall we proceed?
We must provide hard evidence, as Minister Kamsel requested.
And I wish to be named Archduke of Esfrost. Does he understand what he asks of us? We have no leads.
Salt is a well-regulated commodity, and numbers do not lie. If this illicit trade exists, someone will have altered the ledgers.
Of course. We'll gather what information we can on Sorcelet until the evidence we seek reveals itself. Let us canvass the town and see what we find.
Agreed. We should split up and search for clues.
Alright, time to gather some testimony as to Sorcelet's crimes. There's a woman living near the ministry whose life is consumed with rumors of all sizes and sorts. She always has some fresh morsel or other. It would behoove you to speak with her. A rumor monger, you say? That's a funny word. Then I should very much like to speak with her. Yes, thank you. Ah, the White Worm. It's a House of the Dragon reference for you. Alright, there's a quality timber. What was that? Oh, this is the house. Okay, let's go in. 1,000 coins. That looks like that's it for here. Let's talk to this guy. Looking for a rebel who was last seen in this area. Have you any memory of such a person? No, I'm afraid not. A rebel? Sleep recovery pellets. Afraid I'm closed for the day. Needed to balance the ledger, you see. Do come again. Sad. Not now. I have more pressing concerns at present. That damn officer hunting me like a dog. If you would but leave this place, I could return to my home. Oh, that's the rebel that they're talking about? Tis all hearsay, but I understand Esfras occupies Glenbrook. The kingdom is a den of iniquity. It's true, their lack of adherence to the goddess's teaching has no doubt brought this fate upon them. Yeah. That has to be it. Alright, large HP recovery pellet. Someone's left a journal behind. Best not to pry. Well, I want to pry, though. That's very weird that they would even prompt you here. Huh, okay. We're running around robbing people's houses, but we draw the line at diaries. Right, here's Claris. Illegal Where is all this talk coming from? I will not stand for these absurd accusations. What proof have you? Oh, I didn't even realize that there was a little conversation here. Wow, there is so much to this. I don't see this conversation in here at all. Interesting. Well then, you do as much business as I do. Rumors about oneself tend to propagate. It would behoove you to interrogate the rumors you hear before repeating them. Yes, but it would also be best not to let sleeping rumors lie. Keep digging and keep me appraised of any new information you may find. I am eager to be of service. Okay. 1,300 coins. Man, this place is kind of big, huh? Alright, I understand you are aware of the latest rumors that flow through Hyzant. I should like to hear more about them. Wish to hear the popular rumors of Hyzant? You needn't have been so coy. Oh, where to begin? Where to begin? Have you heard the tale of the vanishing vessel? It arrives at the port in secret, only to vanish as quickly and quietly as it came. A ship that disappears in the night. The how of their salt exports had eluded me until now. Perhaps they were carrying it on the ship she speaks of. Alright, so you learned about the vanishing vessel. Alright, not seeing anything else in this building. Bum, 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 bum. Here's the paralysis recovery pellet ×2. Did I already grab the... Yeah, that must have been the... Was it like 1,300 coins right in here? Yeah, that must be it. Yep, okay, that was the large HP recovery pellets. Bloom. Alright, where are we at here? Oh, I need to talk to her. Already got this stuff? Is that right? Oh, that's what I missed. Alright, so there's the fiber. Okay. Let's see here. Ah, here she is. So here's Lila. I've learned that my secretary was investigating Minister Sorsley as well. Surely he left some notes in his journal. You have my blessing to read it if you find it. The goddess tolerates much in the search for the truth. Alright, so that was the key to interacting with the journal here. There it is. It's supposed to be the journal that Lila's secretary keeps. Looks like he underlines something here for emphasis. Find Sorsley ends recent behavior highly irregular and improper. He took a meeting with Glenbrook officials in secret wherein he dispersed generous bribes. Bribing Glenbrook officials? This is extremely valuable evidence. I must take note of it. Added Lila's secretary journal to notes. Okay. Learned of Sorsley's bribery. Nailed it. Alright, now I think I just need to keep I need to finish talking with everybody. Let's talk to this guy here. Can't let you pass without proper permission. Can't know who you are or what nation you hail. None may enter the source. If you're not here to enter the source, then I shall hear you out. What it is you wish to know. Does this conversation matter? I'm not seeing this matter, actually. Let's see here. Absolutely not. That decree comes from the top. Be gone with you. You're interfering with my duties. Why guard the entrance so closely? Is there something you wish to hide? Not that I wish to hide. No, I abhor keeping secrets, and in all honesty, I can look the other way no longer. Swear to me I'll not enter the source, and I shall talk. I've seen a dealer, different from the one we see during the day, carry salt off at night under cover of darkness. I confess I received payment in exchange for my sounds, but I know not from whom. Not as though it matters. My conscience withers and rots just the same. Another vendor in the middle of the night? How highly suspicious. Shall make note of that. I'd wager that this person is involved in Sorslay's illegal enterprise. Yeah, maybe the guy that says that he's just what is it? What did he say? Something about bouncing his books or whatever. I learned about the suspicious merchant. Access to the source is forbidden. Okay. You may go no further. Let's talk to this guy. That's the rebel. Might he be the man who just wants to go home? Perhaps this rebel will provide me with some information if I can convince this guard to move. Yeah, here we go. Alright, so we'll lie here and tell him I did see someone rather suspicious leaving the city. You what? Thank you, good sir. You've done a good deed this day. Did we? Alright, now we'll talk to the rebel. Pray be calm, for he has gone. Has he? At last I can enter my own home. If my everlasting gratitude is there naught I can do for you, good sir. You can provide me with information. Do you know anything of House N's illicit salt dealings? Illicit salt dealings? No, I'm afraid not. Then even a source will do. How might one go about prying into the affairs of House N? As you seem quite determined, you may as well search their encampment itself. It is located beside the entrance to the source. If Sorsley has anything to hide, he will most certainly have hid it there. The encampment. If we cannot find the proof we seek there, then it genuinely does not exist. Yet it is also the most brazen and dangerous course of action. We'll have to wait for the cover of darkness. Yep, that makes sense. Alright, let's talk to this guy. As for us boast of their freedom from the mountaintops, it is only ever the rich and powerful that rise to the top of the wretched duchy. While here in Hyzant, all are equal under the goddess's watchful eye, and all may live in peace. I scarcely need ask, but which nation, in your estimation, has the right of it? Alright, so I'm still going with, what was it? I think it's Liberty I'm working on here. Let's see. Yeah, Liberty. Let's see here. Who's this? This is the Hyzantian soldier. Top option is Liberty. Middle option is Utility, and then the bottom option is Morality. So again, I am going to go with the top option here. So freedom is a necessity for all. I stand with Esfrost on this matter. Words fit for a foolish unbeliever. You see, all one needs in this world is the goddess's blessing. Though it takes a single-minded obsession with freedom to deliberately deprive oneself of her blessings and her salt, so perhaps I should commend you. Her blessings are reserved for only the most righteous adherents. What happens to the nations of unbelievers is none of my concern. Well, that's a little selfish, eh? So this is how the faithful of Hyzant think. Yeah. Well, it wouldn't be a Square game without condemning religion in some form or another. Alright, let's see here. Who's up next? Ministry official. The Saintly Seven have been recognized by the goddess of salt herself and are tasked with leading the faithful of Hyzant. Atop this order sits the Holy One, who enjoys the privilege of hearing the goddess speak in her own words. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so like a prophet, right? The Holy One then disseminates her words. Yeah, of course. Her words to the saintly. It's a pope. to the Saintly Seven, who hand them down to the people, thus granting the holy state her blessings. I, of course, take pride in the uniquely superior construction of our society, but how do you, as an outsider, find it? Alright, so this is the ministry official. Top option is utility, middle option is liberty, and bottom option is morality. So once again here I'm going to go with the liberty option. Will not have you put us in with the other nations. Oh, you could not be more wrong. The Saintly Seven protect and follow the goddess's teachings just like us. They do not operate on greed as the rulers and nobles of other nations do. Well, what about Sorceley End? Sorry, so you are wrong. They are not simple oracles sent to lead the people. Yes, so your dogma tells us that I think you'll find this does not account for human nature, which is not so easily controlled, indeed. Alright. Alright, what are we up to next? Let's check the chronicle here. Information. Oh, I don't really like this. Alright, so we've got the suspicious merchant, the vanishing vessel. Do we have the message from X-Arm? Message from X-Arm. I'm not seeing that one. House Ends encampment. Yeah, from the rebel. The vanishing vessel. We've got that. The secret ledger from Claris. Nope, I need to talk to Claris then. Suspicious merchant from. Yeah, got that one. And Sorceley's bribery from Lila's journal. Yep, Sorceley's bribery. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. I am. Wait, what is the message for X-Arm? I don't see that. It says it's from a Hyzantian soldier, but I've already spoken with them, I believe. Alright, let's talk to Claris here. Where is all this talk coming from? I will not stand for these absurd accusations. What proof have you? Alright, so that, getting the merchant, or suspicious merchant info, shows I hear rumors of irregular salt shipments. So an unsavory character is making off with salt, you say. I confess that not even I had noticed, if what you say is true, though I simply cannot piece it together in my mind. How would they get this smuggled salt to Esfrost in the first place? And then here is they use the cargo ship that vanished. Yes, this disappeared vessel would figure nicely into this plot. It is fortuitous that you have contacted me, and I thank you. I tell you this in the strictest confidence. Talk of House End's crimes has reached the consortium. Their Mr. Sorceley is known to be a meticulous man, exceedingly concerned with the accuracy of his own ledger. If he has engaged in illegal enterprises, as you suggest, I doubt his conscience would allow his books to go unbalanced. He'll have kept a second ledger. Ooh, there you go. A secret account, of course. With that in hand, we'll have all the proof we need. The trouble, though, will be finding it. Alright, so we've learned about the secret ledger. I'm confused, though, about the vanishing vessel, House Ends encampment, Sorceley's bribery, the Saintly Seven of Hyzant. I think that is the one that's Saintly Seven. I don't know where this information came from. That sounds old though. Alright, let's see here. We already talked to that guy. Let's talk to this guy. Mr. X-Arm is occupied for the moment. If you've business with him, I bid you write him a letter. A letter that presumes I have something to write with. Alright, only those with special permission may enter the palace. Take your leave. Well, why did I just get a conviction increase there? Alright, so Oops. So the bribes my secretary mentioned in his journal appear to be true. All that remains is to see what role they played in his illicit distribution enterprise. I urge you to welcome the goddess in your life and reflect upon her magnificence. Only the most righteous who embrace her with all their heart will be afforded her blessings and guidance. Okay, guy. Well, I feel like, excuse me, I feel like I'm missing some information here. It should be from a soldier. Oh, I just saw a blinking. Oh, this is the journal still. Yeah, okay, same thing. Alright, we don't have to reread that. It's a Hyzantian citizen. Yep, same guy. Oops. Yeah, that's the suspicious merchant. Oops. Yeah, I don't know what I'm missing here. It should be a message for X-Arm. Let's see here. Oh, that's why. Yeah, we need to attack the merchant. Bring closer to the day. To desire to intrude, but might I borrow the pen and paper you have there? I have a very important letter to write. If such paper will suffice, then you certainly may make use of the inkwell too. Now to write that letter to X-Arm. Okay, well yeah, that guard just said that we needed a letter to get in there. This is an important proposal for Minister X-Arm. I bid you deliver it to him at once. Very good, I shall see that it reaches Minister X-Arm myself. That letter should secure Mr. X-Arm's cooperation in exposing Sorslay's crimes. I pray it reaches him soon. Cannot be too prepared considering we're up against one of the Saintly Seven. I think that is it. Let me just review here all of the different steps here. So yeah, we've got the message for X-Arm. We've got House End's encampment, the vanishing vessel, the secret ledger, suspicious merchant, Sorslay's bribery. Yeah, it looks like we're good to go. Awesome. All right, let's. Oops, I want to save here. Can I go in now? Nope. Oh, conclude. There we go. That should do it. I've heard enough. Now to return to the encampment and organize my thoughts.
What news? Have you learned anything?
Sorsley is shrewd. He'll not reveal his true colors so easily.
Nothing can remain hidden indefinitely. A thorough review of the testimony shall show us the truth.
Benedict is right. Let us review what we know to be true.
Lord Serenoa, what does the evidence at hand suggest? Let us begin with Sorsley himself. What is his crime?
Okay. Alright, so his crime is that he sold illicit salt.
He sold illicit salt.
Of that there can be no doubt. One of Hyzant's own Saintly Seven is a traitor.
If we cannot secure the help of the remaining saints, we've no choice but to present our case directly to the Hierophant. Doing so will require incontrovertible proof of Sorslay's improprieties.
Alright, the proof is that he kept a secret ledger.
Claris said Sorsley kept a secret ledger.
Of course. Sales had to be carefully managed so as not to arouse suspicion.
Making detailed records a necessity. I've no doubt this ledger exists.
Let's see here.
Now then, let us focus on where we might find the evidence we need.
Okay, the correct answer here is Sorceley's encampment, but I need to review something here really quickly before I select this. Okay, so I just took a look at the different routes here, and I'm actually going to choose the like a wrong answer here on purpose. Basically, Chapter 10, Part 2 is again, it's one of two routes. You've got the correct route here if you answer all of these specific questions correctly. And again, here, if I wanted to make the right choice, I would go with Sorceley's encampment, but I don't want to actually do that. So I'm actually gonna choose the wrong option on purpose, and then in my new game plus, I'll actually make the right choices and probably see what how this plays out.
We should search the Hierophant's palace.
It does sound really funny.
That would require the Holy One's permission, which will never be granted so long as I, a Rosellan, am among you.
Were we to sneak in, anything we find will become evidence that we are enemies of Hyzant.
There is no doubt in my mind that Sorceley was engaged in illegal salt sales.
We know the ledger tracking the tainted salt exists.
Searching the palace is not an option.
Despite our best efforts, I'm afraid we haven't evidence enough to confront him over his crimes.
And Sorceley will find us out soon enough, if he hasn't already.
Time is of the essence, then. What is our next move?
Though we lack proof, we'd best raise the issue with Kamsel once more.
Alright, in the shadows of suspicion completed. Alright, so since I'm basically out of time for this one, I'm going to end it here, and then we'll pick this up. Actually, no, I'm sorry. We've got a battle coming up fairly soon. Yeah, so I'm going to do a little, actually, yeah, I'm going to push on here and actually do a little bit more. And then, just we'll get right up until the next battle, and then we'll go do that in the following video.
Serenoa and his retinue know House End is involved in the illicit salt trade, yet fail to secure any solid evidence to back up their claims. Their position growing tenuous, House Wolffort makes a reckless bid to persuade Kamsel, Minister of Domestic Affairs, to levy charges.
Minister Kamsel will join our cause, won't he?
It's hard to be sure, but we must press our case and have faith. That is all that is in our power to do.
You! Are you House End's dogs?
A messenger, my lord, from the palace. I seek Lord Serenoa Wolffort.
You have found him.
Lord Wolffort, you have been accused of coercing Minister Sorceley End unto unlawful acts. Your presence is required at the palace so the Holy One may question you.
House End is the guilty party, not Serenoa.
If you've testimony to give, you are welcome to stand witness at the trial.
My lord, this may be a good opportunity to bring our case directly to the Hierophant and the other powerful entities of Hyzant. I expect the Saintly Seven are not of one mind on this matter. If you can persuade some of the ministers to side with us, Sorceley will have nowhere to run.
Perhaps. Or you could end up the one with his head on the chopping block, Serenoa.
so we cannot make an enemy of Hyzant, else we truly will be alone. I must stand trial, plead my case to the Holy One and the Saintly Seven, and hope that they believe me.
Alright, so unfortunately, after our exploration phase, I was hoping that I would have enough points to get another character, but that is not the case. So let's check Central Hyzant here. So it says, the Holy One summons the Saintly Seven to the palace. Kamzel and Exarm consider their next move.
You've been summoned to the palace, Minister Kamzel. The Holy One is to hear the accusations against Minister End and question House Wolfort.
Very well. So, Sorceler has made the first move. Serenora must not have been able to secure evidence against him after all. But order cannot truly be restored simply by sentencing House Wolfort. I must make of this opportunity what I can.
So there is to be a trial. I see.
The Holy One requires the presence of the Saintly Seven immediately.
And here I thought you nearly had him, Wolfort. Did I overestimate you? No matter. There is more than one way to trap a greedy boar. Now then, who will be best put to the task?
Alright, trial is held at the Hierophant's palace, but will Sorceler be charged for his misdeeds?
The inquiry of House Wolfort, stood accused by Minister Sorceler End, will hereby commence. We of the Saintly Seven will preside over this trial. Serenor Wolfort, you stand before the Holy One. Do you swear by the Goddess to speak the truth?
I swear.
Alright, answer the Saintly Seven's questions and prove Sorceler's guilt.
Minister Exham Marshal, you may begin the proceedings.
We know Minister Sorceler quite well, having worked with him for these long years. But we know comparatively little of you, Lord Serenoa. Therefore, we must first determine whether you are worthy of our trust. Surely you have not forgotten his position among the Saintly Seven of the Holy State of Hyzant?
The reason why I went this route is because we get apparently an item here if we choose enough correct responses here. So we want to go with it is as I wrote in the documents I provided.
I have written it all down as tradition requires.
Yes, I have read through your report. It is a sign of sincerity that you would proceed according to our customs. Indeed, I can confirm you are a man of honor and integrity. Once all presiding over the trial have had a chance to express their opinions over your report, we shall pass our judgment. I have nothing further to ask.
Next, Minister Kamzel Farrant will make his inquiries.
You must understand the difficult position you have put us in. Sauntering into our home to denounce one of our own. We are a welcoming people, and so must be wary of those who seek to take advantage of our open hearts. If a stranger came to you with unfounded accusations against one of your people, I doubt you would take him at his word. Have you any proof of the foul deeds you claim have taken place in our land?
All right, so this also, by the way, reminds me of Chrono Trigger's trial, but the next correct answer here is I have a witness of the salt transport, so that's the bottom option here.
I have a witness who has seen the salt being transported. One of the guards at the source.
Oh, one of our citizens. Any entrusted to protect the source must swear an oath of honesty to the goddess before assuming duty. Well then, it seems we ought to consider the matter a little further. I have nothing more to ask.
Minister Tenebris, if you would.
It isn't strange that lay people would fail to grasp the goddess's infinite wisdom. We seven, however, do understand her will. For most, our teachings are the only way they know how to live according to her plan. It is moot to judge Sorsley, one of the seven, based on evidence brought against him by a layperson, no matter what that evidence may be. Unless you have testimony from one who understands the goddess's will, there is simply nothing we can do.
Yeah, so Tenebris, or whatever his name is there, he is in, working with Sorsley, so of course he's going to answer this way. But so we go with the second option here is the best option, which is I have a witness to Sorsley's bribery.
Sorsley met in secret with powerful Glenbrook officials and bribed them. Minister Lila's secretary can attest to this.
Oh? A secretary to one of the saintly seven, you say?
My secretary's word is as good as my own. None is more devoted to the goddess than he. If any can grasp her will, he can.
I see. Well, I cannot argue against that. I've no further questions.
Minister Lila Viscraft, ask your questions.
It is plain to me that Sorsley has indeed engaged in misconduct, namely bribery. Yet while I do not doubt he bribed an official of Glenbrook, what the bribe was for remains unclear. Perhaps you can shine some light on the matter, Lord Serenoa?
All right, so the option we want to go with here is Sorsley wanted to ensure the official's silence over the transport of unlawful salt, which is the middle option.
I believe he wished to ensure that word of the unlawful salt's destination would not travel.
Meaning that a powerful official in the Kingdom of Glenbrook was also complicit in this illicit trade. It would be possible to sell unlawful salt through all of Norzelia if one could ship it through Glenbrook. A secret worth its weight in gold indeed. I have no more questions.
I, Idor Delmira, will ask one final round of questions. I cannot deny, Lord Serenoa, that Sorsley can be foolish. But he is also dedicated to the goddess, and he has worked much good as one of the seven. Though he is not faultless by any means, I believe the goddess yet favors him. If we are to pass judgment on such a man, we must prove his guilt to the goddess herself. So let me ask you this, Serenoa Wolfort. Where exactly are we to find such evidence against Sorsley End?
All right, so we were going to answer in his encampment for the final answer here.
There must be some evidence in House End's encampment.
Ah, yes. The goddess would not be able to see into a place so stripped of faith. Perhaps we would be remiss not to search the encampment on her behalf. My questions are done. Now we will confer with one another. The Holy One will pass judgment after hearing our opinions. Saranora Wolford, the Holy One has passed judgment. House Wolford is found to have spoken true. Therefore, we find House Wolford innocent and declare Sorsley End a traitor.
What?
Calm yourself. It seems the goddess has mercy yet to give you.
Praise her, and praise her wisdom. What mercy has she for me?
You will stand in combat against House Wolford. Whomsoever emerges the victor will be cleansed of their sins.
Combat?
But your sins are indeed heavy, Sorsley. Therefore, we give this to House Wolford.
Alright, so that's this is the reason why I chose this route, was to get the grounding amulet. It didn't seem like the other route had this as an option, so again, you know, and that's for getting at least 3 correct responses here. All right, that is going to be the end of this one. As always, I hope the guide was helpful, and thank you for watching.